tonight I'm going to show you how to make a vegetable soup, basically with any vegetables you like. I call this sort of clean out my refrigerator kind of soup because I basically take whatever vegetables I have left over and I'm going to put them into a soup. If you just start out with a few basics, like onion and garlic, you can add basically any vegetable you want, and I'm going to show you just how easy that is to make a delicious soup for your family. Serve it with a little bit of bread, fresh bread, like a sourdough or some kind of bread that you enjoy, and you have a complete meal. This is basically what I had in my fridge. So as you see, I have celery and carrot and half of a fennel bulb that I didn't use in our last recipe. Remember, this is our fennel bulb, and I actually am going to use the stalks for this recipe. I have a leek, some cilantro, sea salt, garlic, half a tomato, some shiitake mushrooms, a bell pepper, a couple of onions that I had left over from a previous recipe, so I have a red and a white. I'm going to use a little butter, kale, vegetable broth, and some quinoa. If you don't have any of these things, don't worry about it. Just add what you have. So to my cast iron pot, I added about a tablespoon of butter. And if you can, use organic grass-fed butter. It would be your best choice. And to this, now I'm going to add that leftover onion that I had, the leek, the red onion, and the white onion. I'm going to put that in there. And then I'm just going to cook this until it gets soft. Look how beautiful those colors are already. And really, it's just what you have in your fridge for a nice vegetable soup. If there's certain vegetables your family doesn't like, don't add them. It's fine. I pretty much love all vegetables, so whatever I stick in the soup is pretty delicious. So I'm just going to cook this for a few minutes and until softened. So our onions and leeks are really nice and brown and tender. So I'm going to add the rest of the veggies. And as you see here, I just basically chopped all our veggies. I like to leave the mushrooms whole. If you like them chopped, chop them as well. Added some crushed garlic cloves on top there. The kale I'll add at the end, but all this is now just going to go into our pot. Okay, so here are all our veggies in the pot. I added a little splash of olive oil just to, because it's a lot of veggies there that I have. And what I'm going to do is just cook this for a few minutes till they all get tender. And I mean, look at those colors. I'm just amazed by how beautiful this dish is and how wonderfully it smells already, and we just started it. So as you can see, the vegetables are softening really nicely. I just added a couple of bay leaves. They have a really nice flavor to vegetable soup. And I'm adding some anise seeds. And this is really nice too because it has that similar flavor to the fennel, and it's going to give our soup a really nice warming, like almost a little bit like a licorice flavor, like a sweetness to it. And so I'm going to cook this for one more minute. So those veggies are looking really good, and I'm going to add our vegetable broth now. And you can also use chicken stock if you like, or beef broth, whatever kind of stock you have. So this is 32 ounces, one box of broth. And as you can see, it covers the vegetables. So I'm going to add a few cups of water too. Depends how thick of a soup you want to make. If you want it to be more stewy, add less water. If you like it to have, you see now, if you like it to be more of more broth and more of a soup base, you are the maker of the soup. You are the cook. You can decide how much you want to add, how much you don't want to add. That's the beauty of cooking. A soup is really difficult to mess up, especially a vegetable soup like this, because you're basically adding the vegetables you like, the flavors you like, and then you're just going to cook this all together. So again, feel free. You can decide. You want more water? I'm going to add a little bit more water because I like it like that. Okay, so There you go. Look at that. Look how gorgeous that looks. And if I wish I invent a camera that can capture smell. So I'm just going to bring this to a boil. Once it boils, I will then lower it and let it simmer covered for 20 minutes. So you should always rinse your quinoa in cold water. Okay, and strain it there before you use it. So basically we're going to use a 1/4 cup. If you like more quinoa in your soup, go ahead, add more. I just want to have a bit of quinoa. Okay, so our soup has come to a boil. Take a look at that. Look how lovely. Alright, so we're going to cover this and cook for about 20 to 30 minutes until the veggies are tender. And if you like some peppercorns, you can add some peppercorns at this point. I'm not going to add any more salt right now. I sort of like to do the salt at the end and just let these veggies sort of meld together and really find their groove. And later on we'll add the quinoa, we'll add the kale, and we'll top it off with some cilantro because I like that. And we'll do salt at the end. Alright, so it's been about 20 minutes now that it's been cooking, and you can tell really how nicely all the vegetables have cooked together. The smell has just gotten better. And at this point, you can choose to keep your soup like this if you really like all those chunks of veggies. Or if you have an immersion blender, you can blend it and make part of it creamed or all of it creamed. This is really up to you at this point, okay? I do have an immersion blender, and I am actually going to blend some of this because I sort of like the mix between the creamy and the very vegetable-y. This will just make it more creamy and not so many chunks of veggies. Okay, so let's take a look at that now. So now you can see it got rid of some of those chunks. See, and it blended it more into the soup. And if you want to do it more, you can. I rather like this consistency because I still see the chunks of carrots. But now it looks like creamier. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to add a pinch of salt. So I just added my quinoa in there. You can see some of it floating on the top. And this is going to absorb some of this water. So I'm just going to cook this for about 10 minutes. But look how lovely our soup is coming out. Okay, so about 10 minutes. I'm just going to turn up the heat a little bit on this. So the quinoa is cooked, and now I'm just going to add our last ingredient, which is the kale. And I just chopped it up into like bite-sized pieces. And kale really doesn't take a long time to cook, and it's got so many great nutrients. And adding this to your soup is really going to make it so much better for you. So take a look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Look how the green interacts so well with all those colors in our soup. And really this just has to cook for a minute or two longer and it'll be done. I'm just going to add a little bit of that cilantro and scallion mix, and I'm going to put extra of this on the table so in case somebody wants to add more of it. But that really freshens it up so nicely. The cilantro and the scallions just give it a little more of that oniony flavor. So here you go. And you know, put salt on the table and some pepper, and you know, as much as wants to be added to the soup can be added. You don't have to oversalt your soup. Always leave it optional so that, you know, it's always easier to add salt than to take out salt. So use salt sparingly. And my bread is ready, so I'm gonna ladle this into some bowls and serve it with some really nice fresh bread and butter. So we made our clean the refrigerator out soup. It's basically whatever vegetables you happen to have left over at the end of the week, or whatever your family likes. So I just want you to take a look at this. Now remember, I used the handheld blender to puree some of it, and I also added some of this cilantro and green onion, scallions, into my soup. It gives it a nicer flavor. And then I have my fresh bread here with some butter. So the way I like to eat it is I like to have the bread in my left hand and the soup spoon in my right. And again, when you taste it, you can adjust for salt, pepper. So let's take a taste here. Really nice. The fresh cilantro flavor is coming out at the end. You taste the fennel and the anise seed. Very warming, like almost a sweet freshness to it. So with your delicious fresh bread, we got it at the local bakery, some nice butter on top. This makes a really wonderful meal. It's really quick. It's basically chop it up, put it in the pot, cook it, and then, like I said, add whatever grains you have. I had quinoa. I added that. That adds protein to the soup. If you want to add barley, you could do that, or rice, whatever you like. So I'm going to enjoy my soup. And I'm hoping that you have a great culinary adventure in your kitchen, because I did in mine. Have a great night. Nice bread.